Welcome to Cars, Yeah, show number 313.
My life has been anything but dull so far, believe me.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Do you know the best way to protect your vehicle, both the exterior and interior, is with a car cover? I've been using Covercraft car covers since 1975. It's a fast, easy, and inexpensive way to keep your vehicle looking new. 2015 marks Covercraft's 50th anniversary. They've manufactured premium quality exterior and interior covers here in the United States with a reputation for durability and design. They're the world's largest manufacturer of custom patterned vehicle covers that are crafted to fit, with over 80,000 patterns and growing. You can choose from dozens of fabric options and accessories, all designed and carefully sewn for your special vehicle. Made in the USA, Covercraft is the right choice. I've protected my special rides with their covers for over 40 years, and you should too. Learn more today at covercraft.com. Hello, automotive enthusiasts. Today I am so excited to introduce a very special returning guest here on Cars Yeah, Harold Cleworth. Harold, are you buckled up and ready for a fun ride?
I'm ready to go. Yes, bring it on.
All right. Harold Cleworth is known as the painter laureate of the car. His lifetime of work graces homes, offices, and galleries around the world. He's painted album covers for the Rolling Stones and the Who, and automotive pieces for manufacturers, celebrities, drivers, and enthusiasts who commission paintings of their automobiles. He's created upwards of 300 works on canvas over the years and thousands of posters and prints. Harold has just released a new book, An Artfulllife. It's his legacy and represents his lifetime of work that represents his style and masterful impressions of the automobile over time. I had the distinct pleasure of interviewing Howard back on July 1st in 2014 when he appeared on Cars Yeah as my 22nd guest, and it's wonderful to welcome back to talk about this new book. So Harold, welcome back to Cars Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. And I've told our listeners just a little bit about you, and before we get into the questions here, would you take a little bit of time and share a little bit more about your career and talk a little bit about this great new book you've produced, An Artfulllife?
Well, I've been asked over the past few years, when are you going to do a book, Hal? For God's sake, you've done all these paintings. How about a book? And of course, it takes a lifetime to get from that point to where you have enough work to actually be ready to fill a book.
Sure.
I've been doing this since 1974, and I was probably ready maybe 20 years ago. I had enough work to fill it. In fact, in my book, there's only about half the amount of work that I've done over the past 40 years. Mm-hmm. I think there's about 150 paintings, and I've done around 300. Wow. So I had to be selective. And I think it came to that point to where I was comfortable with my work. I was finally getting it down, as it were, finally figuring out what I was doing. Hey, finally I'm getting it right here, And the other paintings that I'd done in the past that I just assumed flushed down the toilet, and some that I was very proud of. So I was speaking to my assistant maybe about 2 years ago, and I said, listen, it's about time we sorted this book thing out. Let's start, shall we?
Yes.
This was 2 years ago. So we actually sat down and started with a blank piece of paper, got all my images out. I had, fortunately, taken transparencies of all the paintings that I'd done over the years. Good. And thank God for that.
Yes.
And, then we had to sort of start grouping them, selecting them. So that was the start, just getting all the images together and looking at them and figuring out what the book was going to look like. I didn't just want it to be a bunch of car pictures, because for one thing, I paint airplanes, I paint steam trains, World War II planes, landscapes, cityscapes. My work is I'm known as a guy who paints cars, but I always wanted to show people the other works, the other side of me.
Right.
A lot of people say, "Well, I've seen your cars, but what else do you do?" So the book now shows that, and so we spent 2 years putting it all together and making a dummy of the actual book, which my assistant did all the research. But because there's lots of cars that I'd photographed, I didn't know what the hell it was half the time. I knew what model it was, but in terms of the year or whatever, So he was able to do a lot of research and get everything right, which was very important.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
Well, I've had the pleasure of looking through the book, and it is absolutely spectacular. And I don't know how you go about choosing. It's like choosing your favorite child, I would guess, which is impossible. But how you choose...
It was difficult.
Yeah, how you choose the images go in this book. But it's so wonderful. And you and I spoke at Pebble Beach last year, and Pebble Beach is coming up this weekend. The time that this show will air to Cars Yeah guests will be on the 13th of August. And, of course, Pebble Beach is coming up in a few days, and you'll be there again, I assume. But you were talking about this book being in process and kind of raising your eyebrows going, oh, my gosh, this is a huge project.
Oh, daunting task.
Yes.
Daunting. Yes. I didn't want to do it chronologically. That wasn't important to me. It was a question of grouping all of the images and the cars, the types of cars they were, the American cars, the European cars, the British, the Italian, the German. All of those had to be woodies and motorcycles. And I wanted to have chapters in the book showing all of these different types of cars that I've embraced over the last few years. So that is what took the time, and we figured it out.
I love reading the introduction where you actually say, I really don't care if I make a dime on this book. I just wanted to get it out there and show the people the breadth and depth of work I've done. And definitely you've done that in a masterful way. So kudos to you and your assistant and all the people that helped you put this together. It's just absolutely fantastic. And we'll be talking a little bit more about this book as we move along. An Artfulllife is the title, a very wonderful play on words as well. But I always like to start, if you recall, by asking my guests for a success quote. This is something that's been inspirational for you. Being an artist, inspiration is a key part of your life, but it's a great way to get the inspirational tires turning here on Cars Yeah. So, Harold, take the wheel.
Well, in terms of a quote, it's hard. Inspiration is a visual thing. I can walk down the street and see something that is parked on the street that I see, or maybe it could be some graffiti on the wall that I would like to use in the background. I was watching TV, the NASCAR race a few weeks ago, and I was inspired to see the movement of cars, which is something I've never really tackled very well in the past. So in terms of answering your question of what an inspirational quote, it's not something I can come up with. Like I say, inspiration is visual for me. I actually, in fact, you'll see a painting at Pebble Beach of my first successful attempt at movement, because all of my cars are static. I'm really this painter. How do I show that movement? I succeeded by photographing NASCAR off the TV and showing those blurred images that whiz by you. And I did it.
Yeah.
That was a very proud moment for me. And so you will see movement for the first time.
Well, I can't wait to see that at the Pebble Beach show. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this journey of how this book came to be. Could you share with me, you talked about friends that were kind of nudging you and pushing you to create this book.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a moment in time when you had to sit down and say, you know what, I've got to create this. An Artfulllife has to come to life.
Yes. It was actually finding the right publisher was very key for me. We were, like I said, my sister and I produced a dummy of the book. And, okay, what do we do now? Let's schlep it around. Let's go to various printers and see what feedback we get. And I went to a couple of printers and slapped the dummy book, and they said, oh, yeah, we can print that. Leave it here. I said, no, that didn't seem right somehow. I want you to inject something. I want you to add something to this. I want your help, not just me bringing a book in and you printing it. So fortunately, we were at Sid Mead's house about 3 years ago, and he has a Christmas party every year. And the publishers of his book were there, Scott, and people from Design Studio Press. And I got to chatting with them, and I thought, these guys seem great. And they said, yeah, well, let's see what you've got. So we went over, and the moment I walked in and saw the books that they had published, not only Sid's, but all the other automotive books, I knew I was with the right people. And they have been remarkable in terms of contributing so much visually to my book. Every day they'd be calling me and asking me a question about one car or another car. They would come over to my house and spend the whole day interviewing me.
Wow.
And asking, and it was remarkable. So that was, for me, a turning point, was finding the right guys. And boy, thank God I did, because they have done a marvelous job.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I would assume putting a project like this together, as you've mentioned, is daunting. So I'd love for you to share with our audience. Let's take a look at down the road as you were putting this together and share one of the huge challenges you faced in putting this together, and tell us what that challenge was, and then how did you overcome that challenge, and what did you learn from it?
Well, the challenge was making the book interesting, not only about my work, but about me too. Mm-hmm. It was, I didn't, like I said, just want a whole bunch of car pictures. This is a 57 Chevy. That would be dull. I have a good story too to tell. My life has been anything but dull so far, believe me. You know, I've lived in London in the 60s. I lived in the Haight-Ashbury in the 70s in San Francisco, which is where I started my career as a painter. And since then in Venice, California. So where my story is good. And I wanted to get that. I didn't want a lot of copy, a lot of reading, but I wanted passages to where you could get a sense of who I am as well as what I do. That was important to me. That book does that too.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, definitely. Yeah. And as the little bit of time I've had the pleasure of spending with you, not only talking with you here on Cars Yeah, but meeting you at automotive events like Pebble Beach, I think you've done a great job with that, because it gives a hint and flair of the wonderful person that you are, a very eclectic person. And, you know, you talk about all these places you've lived. I mean, you've had a pretty darn exciting life. So.
Oh, Lord. You know, a lot of the cars reflect that life.
Yes.
You know, a lot of my subject matter. Like I say, World War II planes, I recall the sound of World War II planes after the end of the Second World War.
Oh, goodness.
Going over my house, bombing Manchester. So that sound I still hear.
Wow.
And I went to school on steam trains, you know, so it was all there before I even considered sitting down to paint what would become my muse, which is the automobile. It was already there.
Definitely,
so
definitely.
The machinery, the industrial north of England, which is where I was raised, that was that's where it came from.
Yeah.
My father drove a bus for 50 years, for God's sake, and he used to show me the beauty and the aesthetics of machinery, thinking maybe I'd become a mechanic or something. But no, it's that provided me with my muse.
Fabulous.
Much later on, I was 32 before I started to paint for a living. Anyway.
Wow. Well, it's fabulous. It's just fabulous. Yes. Let's shift gears here and go to the other end of the spectrum. I'd love for you to share one of those aha moments you came up with during the process of producing this book and putting it together. It's kind of a time, I like to say, when the headlights came on and illuminated your way for this idea or a direction you had with this book. Could you share that aha moment with us?
If I'm pinning that to one, it'd be impossible, but it was, I think, once we finished the dummy of the book, and we started to flip through it, and it made me realize just how much work I had done. It overwhelmed me. I thought, my God, where did I do all of this stuff? Where did it all come from?
Yeah.
Because until that moment, it's been in transparency form, filed in books in my cupboard.
Right.
So once I saw them printed out and pasted down, page after page after page, 150 pages.
Wow.
300 images. It just overwhelmed me. I thought, my goodness, this is me. This is who I am. This is my life here, my legacy.
I've been a busy guy. Well, let me ask you, what makes this book so special for you, and why are you so proud of the final publication?
Well, the visual of it. When I first saw it, it was only last week, we went over, I first saw it, I literally burst into tears because it was overwhelming to me, finally to see it. I just can't explain the feeling. They've done such a beautiful job. They even, there's a little, in the book, there's a little cord that wraps around in the spine.
Yes.
And it's a color. Even that, I had to choose the color. There was about 20 different colors for that spine. I'm going, is this important?
Well, Well,
you'll see about a quarter of an inch of it.
Every little
that's how
detail.
thorough they were. So that's what made it. That attention to detail is what made this book so remarkable to me.
Yeah.
The color backgrounds and the embossing, the packaging, everything was just
Yes, yeah, and it
all came together.
Well, it's like your paintings. Every detail matters. Every stroke matters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In a book, it's the same way. Is this the first book that you've produced?
Yes, it is. Yeah. I've been in books. There was a book on the Automotive Fine Arts Society.
Okay,
and,
yeah.
We each had a chapter in that one, but this is my first all about me book.
Well, let me ask you this. Will there be another one, do you think?
Well, they're already talking about it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, since we put this book to bed, as it were, which was a few months ago, I've done about 12 different paintings since then, plus all the ones I did not include in the first one. So, yes, it is quite possible.
There's more to come. Well, that's absolutely great. Is there anything about the book that you wish you'd done a little differently?
No.
No?
Not one thing. I am 100% happy with every layout, every page. There's nothing. I can't find one thing wrong with it.
For a minute here, let's talk about, and it's probably very premature because the book has just come out, but let's talk about the concept of another book down the road. If you could see into the future a little bit, I know that's difficult, but looking ahead, what would you do a little differently down the road with maybe the next book?
That's a very good question because I haven't actually started to think about that. Obviously, I don't want to be a repeat of the first one, as it were, but I can't think that it can't be anything but that, because I think hopefully the second book will show. I've been going in new directions lately. Mm-hmm. You know, it won't just be. It'll be probably a retrospective to begin with of some of the works that weren't in the first book. Mm-hmm. But a lot of things I've done recently have taken a different direction.
Wonderful.
Yeah, there's one chapter in the book called Assorted Works, and there's the strangest things in there. There's even a painting of my fridge, for God's sake. There's a painting of a fork. There's
very interesting.
I know. I did a sketch in 1975 of Marilyn Monroe, which to this day still I'm just ready to produce a second edition of prints of it. It's sold very well. Wow. So I've been going in just different areas, and I think that's what I want to show the next book to be. I don't want to paint cars, for God's sake. I can do other things too. Yeah, landscape. I'm a lover of pop art. I've been influenced. I've even done a couple of abstract paintings lately, which is something to me that I know. I mean, I'm a realist painter. You know, I was always terrified of abstract art because what do you start with abstract art?
Sure.
I'd say.
Yeah.
So, but I was successful in doing 3 abstract paintings, to my mind anyway, I like them. And it was devoid of any subject matter whatsoever. And that's the key, that's the point you have to get to with abstract art.
Yeah.
You start off, who influenced you? It comes from me, from all of these, maybe the 60s abstract expressionists or the abstract painters, being influenced by those guys and combining them and then putting them all together and then making it mine after that.
Well, you've jumped ahead to a couple questions here. This is very interesting because I think you're reading my mind with these questions. And that's okay because talk about getting into new areas. You've been painting so long. You look at the point in the life of your life where you are now. And I love the fact that you're starting to delve into these new areas, the idea of motion, the idea of abstract. What is driving you to push into those directions?
Because I think I've explored my subject matter thoroughly. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody has painted the car in so many ways than I have. I have done the hubcaps, interiors, dashboards. I have really worked. I'm not sure how much more I can say about the automobile, quite frankly. Even though I'm right now, I'm working on a painting of Highway 101 with some old 50s cars in it. So nice. Maybe there's still, but I just want to look what else is inside me, and I know there's lots in there still.
Wonderful.
And I can't wait to see what it is. It's just, and it's not. The nice thing about it is it's not driven by commerciality. I'm not saying I'll do a painting. I don't give a damn whether it sells or not. It doesn't matter because I have to do it. And it usually does.
Well, of course it does because it's a Harold Cleworth. But You talked a little bit also about being inspired by others. Who are some other artists, past or present, that have inspired you with your style and where you're going?
Well, not so much art. Well, as a teenager, I was obsessed with Salvador Dali. But in England, I wasn't really a painter as much as an illustrator, and my illustrations were affected by the way other people illustrated. I was always looking at other people's work and then sort of trying to emulate that, or just trying to get something. There was nothing coming out of me until I moved to America. So I came to San Francisco.
Right.
And then I felt I was completely on my own, because Los Angeles at the time was artistically a barren wasteland in the 70s. There was nothing here. There was not even a museum of modern art. There was no art to speak of. So I was like on my own. Oh my God, this is scary. Who can I look to, for God's sake?
Yes.
And because of that, my own style and my own way of working came out. I just sat down and started to paint realistically, photographically, and I began to realize that this is the way I want to paint. And then realized later on that there were actually other artists doing the same thing, so it justified. I thought, what am I doing? Just reproducing photography here, But I looked around and saw that Richard Estes, for example, who was a realist painter from New York, who did shop windows. It validated my style, the way of working, because I thought, well, other people do it too, so I don't feel bad.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, and it was very commercially viable as well, because you were producing things that people actually wanted to buy and hang on their walls.
Yes.
Which, of course, is important in an artist's world.
Yeah, it's a lot of people look at my work and say they know what they're looking at.
Yeah.
They recognize it.
Yeah. Well, I'm very intrigued to see some of this abstract work, because I'm a big fan of abstract art. I always have been.
Me too.
I can't wait to see where you're going with this.
I know. It was like it took a while. Because initially I thought, well, maybe I can do, if I broke down realism to where it was somewhat abstract, to where when you looked at it, you weren't quite sure what you were looking at, and suddenly, the fridge painting was a good example of that. People look at it and say, some people look at it and they don't know what the hell it is, and other people see it straight away. It's just the door handle. So that was getting towards abstraction, but it wasn't complete. It still was a very real image, but done in a very abstract way.
A work in progress.
Now I'm the ones I've done right now are just have no subject matter whatsoever, and I'm loving it.
Very cool, very cool. Well, Harold, up next is the last lap, but before we put the pedal to the metal, let's hear a word from our Cars Yeah sponsor. Have you turned your key and heard that dreaded tick, 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 tick because of a dead battery? No worries. I've got the Naoko Genius Boost Jump Starter. This compact tool fits in your glove box and features rechargeable lithium battery technology that will start a dead battery in your car, boat, truck, or RV. It packs a whopping 12-volt, 400-amp starting power and can start up to 20 dead batteries on a single charge. Plus, it has built-in spark-proof technology with reverse polarity protection to safely jumpstart your vehicle. The compact, ergonomically designed clamps are solid copper for maximum conductivity, and there's a built-in ultra-bright dual LED flashlight with 7 modes, including an SOS emergency strobe. It's easily rechargeable with a USB outlet, and you can charge your smartphone or tablet while you're on the road. Works on any 12-volt lead-acid battery. The Genius Boost from Naoko is the ultimate emergency tool that's safe and easy to use. Quality design, state-of-the-art technology from Naoko, your battery care source since 1914. Get yours at geniuschargers.com. All right, Harold, we're back and we're entering what I call the last lap, and this is where I'm going to fire off a series of questions and ask you to give our listeners some quick blips of the throttle answers. So you ready?
Fire me.
All right. What's the best book advice you received as you endeavored to produce this book of yours?
Not really. I went to several bookstores myself, and I looked at any of the thousands of books out there. I wanted to find something that stood out, that there was something different about it, because I'm a kind of different kind of guy. I wanted that. Most books are sort of landscape or portrait form. And I saw one book that was square, and I said, that's what I want. That's different. I like the difference of that,
Yeah.
Where you think, well, wait a minute, my paint is not square. I don't think I've ever done a square painting, but that didn't matter. That's the difference of that I thought that will make my book stand out a little bit.
Yeah. Very interesting. Could you share one of your personal habits that you believe has contributed to your ability to complete this immense project?
Discipline.
Yes.
Just sit down and just do it. Don't wait for inspiration to show up. Just sit down and in front of your drawing in your table, and it'll come. A lot of artists say, they say, "Oh, well, I haven't been inspired today." Well, it's your own damn fault. Get out there. Open your eyes. There's just tons of stuff out there to inspire you.
Well, I'll tell you, Harold, you were one of the first artists that appeared here on Cars, Yeah, and you really started a trend here of artists that I've had on the show. Many, many painters, many friends of yours from the AFAS that appear at Pebble Beach and other things. But that's one thing I've heard over and over from artists, and it works for any line of work, is you just have to sit down and do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it, yeah. What kind of resources did you access while putting An Artful Life together? You talked about finding the right publisher. You had a great assistant that helped you. Were there any other resources that you used to get this project done?
None, except because I had everything I needed. I had my work, and I had the publisher, and I had my assistant to do all the technical stuff. That's all I needed.
and a lot of time and effort. There you go.
Yeah, that.
Now, is your book available right now today?
Yes, you can actually order it on Amazon.
Okay, great, awesome. And you'll be at the Pebble Beach show, so will the book be available there as well? Or
yes, I will have a copy there to show. I won't be able to actually sell them.
Okay.
But I will take orders because I can't show up with a stack of books.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of tough to do. Exactly.
Yeah.
Can people order the book directly from you and get an autographed copy?
Yes, they can do that. They can. The best thing right now, anyway, is to order it on Amazon and then maybe send it to me. I will eventually have some books myself as well. There are 3 different books available. The first one, I think, is about $60.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a $100 book, which is going to be in like a dark blue cardboard box with silver printing on the cover, a little extra something.
I see.
And then I believe there's going to be one that's $300, which is going to be a signed and numbered edition in a wooden slipcover box.
Wow.
And those you can get directly from myself or the publisher.
Okay, wonderful, great. I'm glad we covered that. Absolutely fantastic. All right, Harold, we're up to what I call the checkered flag. And if there's last time I asked you this question had to do with your favorite car. We've already covered that, and I will say this. Harold was responsible for a very unique question here on Cars Yeah. I used to ask people a different question about cars, and he came up with an idea of if he was a car, and I now call that the Harold Cleworth question here on Cars Yeah. And I've had many, many interesting introspective responses from that. We always get a good chuckle, and I always think of you every time I ask that. But if there's one singular message you would like your readers to get from looking at An Artful Life, this wonderful new book, what would that one message be?
It would be just do what you love. Follow your dream. I'm a testament of I'd say that it sounds almost cliche now because I say it so many times, but I meet people. I go to my local pub in Venice, and I meet people all the time there, and people come up and talk to me, and I always ask them what. They said, I said, what do you do for a living? They'll tell me. I said, is that what you really want to do? And they said, well, no, I do. So what's your passion? What's your love? For God's sake, do that. Because it's not about stuff. It's not about money. It's achieving a level of contentment that you will get from doing what you love. And I've known people who are multimillionaires who haven't achieved that yet.
Yep, I think it's a great message.
Yeah,
fantastic. I love it. You used those words when you were on my show here a year ago. They still resonate today. Absolutely.
It's good.
And
that
was absolutely wonderful.
I have a tattoo on my arm that says "Art for Art's sake," and those are also words that I live by as well. Yeah, I paint for the sake of painting.
Yes, well,
and, thank God somebody buys it too, so it's a good thing. But
yeah, absolutely. Well, we've enjoyed your art all these years. Your book, An Artful Life, and Artful Life is all one word. It's a really fun play on words. Artful Life. There's 3 L's in there. It's absolutely fantastic. And Harold, you've taken me on another great ride today. I've so enjoyed talking with you again.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. I want to thank you for sharing your journey and this new book, An Artful Life, with the Cars Yeah listeners. Could you give us one parting piece of guidance before you head off into the sunset?
Yeah, work hard and play hard.
Work hard and play hard, yeah.
Get a full day's work in and then go out and get drunk at night.
Have fun with life. And I think you all can understand and listen to the joy in Harold's voice. He has certainly figured out the secret to life there. So listeners, you can find links to everything Harold shared with you today at carsyeah.com. Just put Harold in the search bar. You can always go back and listen to his past show number 22, when we first met and talked here on Cars Yeah. We had some different questions then, but the same spirit and same joy is still there in his heart. Harold, I want to thank you for being so generous today with your time and expertise.
You are very welcome, Mark.
Well, you're welcome, and for sharing this new book, An Artful Life, with our listeners. Please go get yourself a copy. Ask for it for Christmas time, birthday, whatever. I think you're going to really love it. It's going to hold a special place on your shelf. Until we talk again, I'll see you down the road.
All right, Doc. I'll see you at Pebble Beach.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.